Shalom, welcome to my channel, The Hebrew Bible. This is Moses Gumadi, and in this video we'll talk about the Passover sacrifice, which actually represents the killing of the Egyptian god Khnum and also Amun. Okay, this significance obviously is not known by many people, but that's what it is. And I will be talking about the significance of the Passover lamb, what is known as the abomination of Egypt, and we'll talk about this Egyptian ram god, Khnum, and the fact that Hashem judged these gods at that time. And we'll see the significance of the blood on the lintel and also the fact that the lamb wasn't a substitute for the Israelite firstborn. Okay, we'll see that. So first, the significance of the Passover lamb. So I'll explain my thesis. What is it that we're saying? In the Passover story, the Israelites challenged the Egyptian god Khnum, a ram-headed creator deity. That's what they believed, who was believed to shape human life and hold power over the firstborn. They did this by ritually killing a lamb or a ram, which is actually his sacred animal, because Khnum himself is a ram-headed or a goat-head, not goat, a ram, a lamb-headed god, and marking their doorposts with its blood. Okay, that's how they did it. They ritually killed it to show that Khnum is slaughtered. Now his power is broken. That's the picture. This act symbolically defeated Khnum in their homes, the homes of Israelites, showing Hashem's superiority over Egyptian gods. And as a result, the destroyer had no claim left to take the firstborn in any of the marked households where the blood is dabbed on the lintels, etc., since Khnum's authority had already been nullified there. Also, the Israelites broke their own psychological dependence upon the Egyptian gods. We don't need the empire. We don't need their power. We don't need their source of strength. We have Hashem as our God, and He is a source of our strength. That's the message. Okay, I'm not just making this up. There are a lot of scholars who have this view. You can find this from the link that I have given below, the Torah.com, this article, Sacrificing a Lamb in Egypt. And they also back it up by other events about the destruction of the temple of Hashem that they built. The Jews in exile in Egypt later on, after the first temple was destroyed, they built it in Elephantine, right? So it was near the temple of Khnum, next to or somewhere. And that was destroyed because of certain reasons which they discuss. And they talk about the same thing that I'm saying, okay? Now, let's look at this phrase, the abomination of Egypt. Now, during the fourth wonder, there are 10 signs, 10 plagues, or 10 signs and wonders that God did over Egypt. And after the fourth one, right, a diverse horde of animals, some Bibles translate it as flies, but actually not flies. After this was done, so Pharaoh tells Moses, hey, why don't you guys go and sacrifice to your God in the land itself? Why do you want to go to the wilderness? Don't go to wilderness, sacrifice right in the land of Egypt. When he says that, Moses replies, no, it is not possible. He says, it is not meet to do so, for we shall sacrifice the abomination of Egyptians. Lo nachon la'asot chen. It is not possible to do like that. Ki toavat mitzra'im nizbach l'Adonai. We will be sacrificing the toavat mitzra'im, meaning we will sacrifice the abomination of Egyptians to Hashem, our God. So what is there? And then we see the next sentence. Shall we sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians before their eyes, and they will not stone us? So what is this abomination of Egyptians? And they will stone. He says they will stone us, meaning if they sacrifice to Hashem the lambs, the rams, which they are supposed to sacrifice, right? So going into the wilderness, if they do that in the land, they will stone us. Why? So here are a couple of reasons. So toeva means abomination. Okay, toeva is abomination. But in what way was the abomination to Egyptians, or abomination of the Egyptians? You could think that from one side, the Israelites themselves, the Hebrews, were an abomination to the Egyptians. We read here, Toivat Mitzrayim kol roe tzon. All the shepherds of tzon, that is, tzon are basically small animal, particularly sheep, rams, etc. Okay, they are the abomination for the Egyptians. Why? Because they, for whatever reasons, it's not that the Egyptians did not eat the lamb or a sheep. Apparently, the priests, the way the priests slaughter the ram has to be in a certain liturgical way because it is their god. So the common people may have done it differently. And so the priestly class and the elite of Egypt certainly consider the Hebrews as abomination because their practices were basically an abomination to the Egyptians, basically because of this tzon, sheep, or the family of sheep, rams, and lambs. Okay, but that is not what Moses is saying. The Toivat Mitzrayim we will sacrifice to Hashem our God. So what is the Toivat Mitzrayim? There is a clue in 2 Kings 23:13. We read that here, Solomon had built it. Ashtoreth, to Ashtoreth, Shiketz Sidonim, the abomination of the Sidonians is called Shikutz. Chemosh Shikutz Moab. Chemosh is the abomination of Moab. You see, they're not calling this as the god. In some other places it is called, instead of calling this Ashtoreth and Chemosh as the god of Sidon, god of Moab, they're using the word Shikutz, meaning abomination. But then here we see Milkom. Milkom Toavat Bnei Ammon. Milkom is the abomination of the children of Ammon. So Milkom is the god, and this god of what? God of the god of the children of Ammon. And this children of Ammon is not called as god of Ammon, is called as abomination of Ammon. So it is abomination to who? Abomination to the Israelites. And so this Toivat Mitzrayim basically refers to Khnum, the Egyptian god, because Egyptian god is the ram. So when Moses says we sacrifice the abomination of Egyptians to Hashem our God, he's talking about sacrificing the ram or a lamb, which means that it is like sacrificing, killing ritually to Hashem, and not in the ritual, not following the practices of the Egyptians, right? In a different way. If they do that, that is an abomination, and the abomination itself is this Khnum god. Okay, that's the point we're trying to make. The Khnum, the Egyptian ram god, is the abomination of Egypt, and we'll talk. Well, let's see who this guy is. This Khnum is an ancient Egyptian ram-headed creator god known as the divine potter. Potter. These are all biblical concepts. So obviously these corruptions have entered long ago into the civilizations. They took the truth and corrupted it. They believed to mold humans, their ka, or the life force. And so he basically molds the humans, their life force, and also other deities on a potter's wheel using Nile clay. This looks very similar to the way God created man with the clay. Okay, going forward, here you can see this ram god, Khnum, here, sitting. And this is the potter's wheel, and he's forming the child. And this is the connection between the firstborn and this god Khnum. So, the firstborn of Egypt, as also everyone obviously, but the firstborn representing the generative power, and the source of life and all that stuff, is basically the work of Khnum, right? So that is how it was. Now we see that in truth Hashem is the potter. Ve'ata Adonai avinu, ata anachnu hachom. Ve'ata Adonai avinu ata anachnu hachomer. And now, O Hashem, you are our Father, and we are the Homer, meaning we are the clay. Ve'ata yotzrenu uma'aseh yadecha kullanu. And you are our potter. Yeah, yotzrenu. Yatzar is the root, meaning the one who formed, given shape. Genesis chapter 2 verse 7 we read, Vayitzer Adonai Elohim et Adam afar min ha'adama. Hashem, God, Hashem Elohim has formed, Yatzar, formed man out of the dust of the ground, breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, which the Egyptians call the Ka, the life force into us. Who made? He made. But they have a false god with they basically copied this, and with the head of a goat, and that is being killed, meaning we're going to destroy that. That's the story. Okay, not only the god Khnum, there is another god of Egypt called Amun or Amun-Ra. Later on Amun-Ra are joined together, but basically Amun. You see this goat head here in this picture. Pharaoh is off making offerings to this goat-headed god. In this case, this fella is Amun. So it's not only Khnum, but also Amun. So therefore, Hashem, through the sacrifice of the Passover, judged the Egyptian gods, Khnum and Amun. He judged both these fellas. We read in Exodus chapter 12, verse 12, ועבדתי בארץ מצרים בלילה הזה, והכיתי כל בכור בארץ מצרים מאדם ועד הבהמה, וכל אלוהי מצרים אעשה שפטים. So I will judge, I will pronounce judgments upon the Elohe Mitzrayim, which are the gods of Egypt. And he says, Ani Adonai, I am Hashem, I am Hashem, because they have taken all that he has done and appropriated that to the beasts, beast-headed, goat-headed, ram-headed, and all these kind of gods. So when he told them to apply the blood on the lintel, what it means is Khnum is killed here. So the instruction is V'haya haddam lachem le'ot. The blood shall be for you a token upon the houses. Al-habbatim asheratem sham. So where you are upon the houses, you must apply the blood so that it becomes a oath, as in token, oath. Hebrew oath, not English O-A-T-H, but oath. The word oath is a token or a sign upon the houses. And he says, V'raiti et haddam ufasachti alechem. When I see the blood, I will pass over. Fasachti. This is Pesach. Pesach is the Passover. Pesach. Fasachti means I will skip over. I will pass over alechem upon you. And the plague shall not be there upon you to destroy when he smites the land of Egypt. So the point is that when the blood is applied upon the lintel, upon the doorposts, the sign, the message that is being portrayed there is Khnum is slaughtered in this house. Okay? Khnum, the ram-headed god. We slaughtered the Passover lamb. Khnum is slaughtered in this house, and his authority has already been nullified in this house, and therefore Hashem will pass over the house because there's no more Khnum to be judged in this house. He goes to the next house, some other house where the Egyptian houses where it is not applied. There he goes and kills their firstborn, because Khnum needs to be judged in their houses and not in the houses of the Israelites where blood is applied, because they killed the ram, they killed the lamb. Khnum's authority and symbolic power has been nullified. That's the message. Well, so the question comes. So the common frequent idea is that, well, this lamb actually represented a substitutionary offering for the child, because instead of the firstborn of Israelite, the lamb was killed. And so because the lamb was killed, the firstborn is spared. That's the message. Well, that is not the message. The message is that because when the lamb was killed and the blood is applied, it is denoting that Khnum, the Egyptian god, has been killed. His power is nullified. Therefore, no longer God is going to judge the gods of Egypt in that house. So he passes over. Okay? Because he passes over in judgment. Now, what about the for firstborn then? Why am I saying it's not a substitute? Where do you have a proof? Yes, we do have a proof, because in the very next chapter, God tells Moses to tell the children of Israel, Vaidaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, and he said to Moses, Kadesh li kol bechor. So, you sanctify to me all the firstborn, right? All the firstborn. And how the firstborn should be sanctified, it is not given here, but later on we read in the book of Numbers that, how to sanctify. So if he does not, if you actually read through the first two verses and then subsequently verses 11 and 12, I think in this chapter, you'll see that God tells them to redeem the firstborn. How to redeem the firstborn? If the Passover lamb was a substitute for the firstborn, then the firstborn is already redeemed, wasn't he? But he tells them to redeem the firstborn. How the redemption of firstborn must happen, and what if he is not redeemed? If he is not redeemed, then he belongs to God. He belongs to God means what? We will kill him? No. He has to go for priestly service. He belongs to the family of Aaron. Therefore, in Numbers chapter 18, Aaron was told, this is what it is. They must, this all belongs to you. So to Aaron, and they must, redeem the firstborn. So how do you redeem the firstborn? Here we read, everything that openeth the matrix in all flesh, when they bring to Hashem, whether they be of men or beasts, shall be thine. Thine means who's? Yours. He's telling Aaron, it's all yours. All the firstborn is yours. Meaning it is Hashem's. Hashem gives to Aaron. But the firstborn of man cannot be killed, and unclean beasts cannot be killed. Therefore, both man and unclean beasts must be redeemed. Okay, that's the point. And how will you redeem? If it is man, if it is a child, firstborn, from a month old you must redeem according to thine estimation for the money of 5 shekels. Chameshet shekelim beshekel hakodesh, according to the holy shekel or sanctified shekel or shekel of the sanctuary. Eserim gerahu, so it is, which is 20 geras. Okay, so you need to pay. So the redemption price is 5 shekels. So the redemption of the firstborn is called Pidyon HaBen, is 5 shekels. So that is what he told in the context of the Passover itself in Exodus chapter 13. And therefore, the slaughtering of the lamb is not the redemption of the firstborn, and therefore it is not a substitute for the firstborn. The ram or the lamb that was slaughtered at the Passover was a symbol of Khnum, the gods of Egypt, which were slaughtered or judged in that house, and the blood signified that they already killed it there, and therefore God need not judge those gods of Egypt any longer in that particular house, right? And therefore they are free. They also, another point of significance is that because these gods are killed in that house, their psychological dependence upon the Egyptian system, Egyptian empire, and the Egyptian gods is broken. They are free to go now, and they will go free. That's the meaning. Thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe to my channel. Click the bell icon. Also do comment below, and I will see you again with another video as soon as I can. Thank you very much.